What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of the Bench Mob here on the 48 Minutes Basketball Network. It is just myself, Tim Daniel, and Ben Brown tonight as Joshua Hayes is behind the bench at the UNC Louisville game in Chapel Hill tonight.
Pretty legit.
Yeah,
Pretty
pretty cool.
legit.
And then Sean's eBay store went on a bonanza, went a little crazy with some sales. So he's when you run an eBay store.
Mini tycooning out here.
Yeah, when you run an eBay store, you are your shipping company, your supply company.
Mm-hmm.
You do all that. So it's just Ben and I, and we're going to do a pretty quick and easy show tonight. Just kind of recap All-Star Weekend, talk about some injury news, and then obviously we'll discuss LeBron and the pressure he's putting on the Lakers and discussing the idea of potentially not closing the door on playing for the Cavaliers again. And it's going to be a lot of interesting things to talk about. So, Ben, first off, let's talk about All-Star Weekend as a whole before we get into day by day.
Okay.
I honestly thought, truthfully, that, I know we're going to talk about how bad the dunk contest was. And
yeah.
Rightfully so. But
Correct.
I thought the Rising Stars tournament was a really cool thing.
Absolutely.
I didn't get to see a ton of it, so I watched a little bit of it Friday night. And then I thought the skills competition was goofy, but it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
With having all three guys in the court at once instead of everyone doing individuals. I'm all for clearing up time.
Yeah.
The 3-point shootout I thought was the highlight competition.
Absolutely.
It was a blast. And then obviously the dunk contest was what it was. And the All-Star game was really fun, honestly. I know a lot of people want to shit on it and be like, well, they don't try and they don't do this. It's like, it's a freaking All-Star game.
Yeah. If anybody, if anybody watched the Pro Bowl, right. and I know guys are like, oh man, I miss the good old days when blah, 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 and they would hit and blah. I'm like, God, I mean, there's too much money on the line, man. Like I hate to be that way. I really do. I hate to be that way, but there's just way too much money on the line for a guy to, be run up the sideline and get hit. God rest his soul, Sean Taylor laid the punter out that one. Like, there's just way too much money on the line for guys to be, blowing knees or trying to tackle. And I get that. People are trying to save themselves for the season and save their contracts, which I understand. And the same thing with the All-Star game, man. These guys play, they play all these games, 82 games in a season, playoffs if you're lucky, finals if you're lucky. Like, let them have a weekend where they can get with their guys, have fun, and let it be what it is, man. It's cool. It's still cool to see all those guys. Like, it's still cool to me to see Steph Curry playing with Giannis and LeBron. Like, that's amazing
Jokic,
to me. And Jokic. Like, I'm like, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's like 10 or 11 MVPs between the four of them. Like, it's just fun to watch. Like, take it for what it is. It's an enjoyable game. Those guys enjoy playing with one. Like, the one time they came down and Giannis is guarding Chris Middleton. Or it was like that stuff is cool. Those guys are teammates. They're guarding one another.
Martin Levine and
like stuff like that. It's fun. It is what it is. It's fun. And those guys had fun with it. Couple of the highlights for me. One, in the All-Star game, Ja Morant is a freak. Like, just some of the things he was able to catch and put down. His it was a fun game, but watching his athletic ability is just insane.
Special.
It's special. It's special. It's so much fun. Steph Curry, the show he put on, his shooting exhibition is what I'll call it. Like there's really no words. Like I honestly, I'm watching it, and as you're watching it, you're like, okay, he's hit a few. Okay, now he's starting to do the turnaround where he's not looking at him. Okay, now like, and the funny part about it is like you're watching it, and this is not any hate to Trae Young or anything like that, but it's almost like, oh, you're not as good as you think you are, because I'm still Chef Curry. Oh, I'm still here, and I'm sure there's no animosity between the two, but it's like, to see him do that, and Trae Young's on the floor, and of course Trae Young probably has mad respect for Steph, and I get it, but you get those comparisons like, oh, Trae's the next Curry, and like to me, Steph was like, man, there is no next me. Like I just hit 16 threes in an All-Star game, like, you know what I mean? So So as you're watching it, you're seeing all this greatness and all these things going on. It was just absolutely just magical and fun to watch, and I love the ending. And it's called like what's it called?
Elam.
Elam scoring. Oh, I love that
I
because
know
then
it's
they really
fun.
do have to break down and be like, okay, now I got to guard somebody. Now I got to do this and score. And for LeBron to hit that fadeaway shot, I mean, it was just poetic in Cleveland. It was cool. And I know we'll talk about the 75th anniversary and the halftime stuff and all that.
Mhm.
But man, it was cool. It was sad to see that the dunk contest was kind of a dud. But here is my take on the dunk contest. You take guys that are pretty good in-game dunkers, and it's really hard to be creative and get it right on the first time.
It
I
is.
mean, the last, when Zach Levine and Aaron Gordon were having their battles in the dunk contest, those two, I mean, those two put on a show, but I don't think people realize how hard it is for those guys to be able to get those dunks first time and be as creative as they were. Um, I think people forget how special you have to be able to do that on a consistent level. You saw it with Dominique. You saw it with Jordan. You saw it with Levine. You saw it with Gordon. You saw it with Vince Carter. You saw it's very few that category of guys that could put 4 or 5 really good dunks together and shut the whole building down. Like it just doesn't happen. So people get all upset about, oh, I want the old dunk contest and I want this guy to be in it and this guy to be in it. That's all great, but even still, it's so hard to put that many dunks in a row together. I mean, even in Aaron Gordon's case, he put all those dunks together and lost.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Twice.
Like twice. So it's like, people get caught up in all that. And was it one of the better ones? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But, I thought Obi Toppin did a great job. I thought his dunks were pretty cool. J. Cole putting on the Timbs, that was fun. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And those guys, that's a lot of pressure for for guys to get out there and try to make those dunks, consistently. Like, it's tough.
Yeah, I also think that we're at a point where we're kind of running out of creativity.
Yeah.
Like everything's been done.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
The one thing we almost had that was almost creative was a couple years ago when Aaron Gordon tried to do a thing where the drone brought the ball in. It was supposed to bounce. And he was going to catch in the bounce, and that obviously didn't work.
You're right.
And I think just kind of the pace is what really throws a lot of people off, especially like whatever was that one when Jalen Green took 13 tries.
And I think also, that one shuts it down. I agree with you on that.
What's the point of the necklace with the NFT that he doesn't even wear in the dunk? He just puts it on for a second and then hands it to Isaiah Thomas. I think it was Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, I think so.
Who cares? And it's just so stupid. But let's just kind of go through and let's first start with the Clorox Future Stars competition, which I thought was really fun. How they did a tournament format this year. James Worthy had a team, Isaiah Thomas had a team, Gary Payton had one, and Rick Barry had one. And so Isaiah Thomas's team beats James Worthy's team in the first game 50-49. You get a nice game from Saddiq Bey with 16 points, and you get Desmond Bane adding 10. And then the second game, Rick Barry's team beats Gary Payton's team 50-48. Now, Rick Barry's team has Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham, Isaac Okoro, Jayshawn Tate,
loaded.
Franz Wagner.
Loaded. His team was loaded.
Yeah, and then in the finals, they cut the final score to 25 wins.
Yeah.
And Rick Barry's team beats Isaiah Thomas's team 25-20. Precious Achiuwa, though, had a nice night with 12 points in the final game. But I thought that the tournament idea, the fact that they brought the G League guys up for this where they could play a little bit, guys like Scoot Henderson, Marshawn Beauchamp, Deshaun Daniels, I thought that was really awesome. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, I did too. It gives those guys a spotlight, because you know who they are, but it gives those guys a spotlight and an opportunity to be able to play on the biggest stage. I mean, that's a huge stage to play on. I love the tournament style. The more young talent involved, the better. And you have them matched with legends. I mean, Isaiah Thomas, Gary Payton, Rick Barry, James Worthy, 4 guys that have done it all, have been in the league, and being able to have them out there with those guys and have their own kind of tournament and being able to get after it. It was a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoyed that. I really thought it was well done.
I did too. And Cade Cunningham took home the Future Stars MVP.
Mhm.
Had two really good games in the competition, where he kind of led the way. In the last game, he had 5 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. Remember, he scored with the 25.
Mhm.
And then the semifinal game, he had 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists.
Yeah.
But watching him and Mobley play together was pretty fun. I really
Yeah.
dug that.
Yeah.
That was neat. Big weekend for Evan Mobley, by the way.
It was.
Big
It was a
weekend.
huge weekend for him. That was going to be my next point. Like seeing guys like Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, Okoro, like seeing those guys, like watching them play. Because let's be honest, like unless you're like a Cleveland Cavs fan or an NBA fan, you don't get a chance to see those guys.
Right.
But to watch them play, like, and watch Evan Mobley and just how smooth and comfortable he is on the floor, and to see a healthy Cade Cunningham, which we've started to see in regular season games in Detroit. But to watch his court vision, mid-range jumper game, being able to be a floor general, and I mean, of course, his team was loaded, like we already mentioned, but to be able to see that and for them guys to have that kind of stage and opportunity, I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it was. I agree. So we'll go into Saturday now real quick, and we'll talk about the competition there. So we had the skills competition with the Cavs team of Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, and Darius Garland. The Antetokounmpo brothers of Thanasis, Giannis, and Alex. And then we had the rookies of Cade Cunningham, Josh Giddey, and Scotty Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
And at times it was very clustered, like when they were doing the passing competition.
Yeah.
But at times it was really fun. I just kind of thought it was so funny that we had the shooting competition. And it's like there's one true shooter of the 9 guys in the whole game.
Right.
You're like, all right, that's going to the Cavs.
Yep.
You know, like that's easy.
Yeah.
But I thought the passing thing was really funny. How they were all on the court at the same time, and they had to like do like we like basically 3-man weave to throw passes, and it was like at times they're running into each other. At times it's like you can see like and obviously Cade Cunningham and Josh Giddey on a team. You definitely knew that was probably going to be the winner in that one.
Absolutely.
And then the shooting one was fun because it was like, I mean, that's the obstacle course at the end. Because everyone missed a turn somewhere, and people ran out of time. And like,
it was definitely a cluster, but it was fun. I did like that format. I don't know how they came up with the Antetokounmpo brothers as being part of that, but overall, I like the format. It was fun to watch. It was cool to see the Cleveland kids win in their home stadium, and it was cool.
Yeah, it was. And then they came down to the last shot to win it was friggin' Alex Antetokounmpo versus Darius Garland. Whoever hit a shot first won. And I was like, all right, that's a wrap.
Even the commentators were like, well, Cleveland's moving on.
Yeah, it was awesome. So then we'll get to the 3-point shootout real quick. Thought that was a lot of fun. I thought, I picked Zach LaVine to win. He was knocked out before the first round was even over. Karl-Anthony Towns beats Trae Young and Luke Kennard in the final. Luke Kennard put on a show in Ohio. Trae Young was kind of meh, like always. Fred VanVleet was not very good at all.
No, dude, I did not know his shot was like that. Did you notice his shot was like a shot? Like I've never noticed that's how his shot moved when he shot it. Like it spins sideways. I've never noticed that.
Yeah, Cat had it like wrapped up with like 2 shots left. It was like that was awesome, man. Joe Micucci picked Cat to win it. And so he gets to celebrate that this week. Obviously, they'll probably talk about that on Wolves Watch on Shot Callers this week. But Cat, I loved how Cat was like. They showed the clip of him like on the socials where he's going to Steph and getting advice on the competition.
Oh yeah,
and then he's like in press conferences, he's telling everybody, he's like, "I told you I'm going to win this," and he's like, "This is mine. I'm going to take this," and he did. So hats off to the big man getting the 3-point contest victory.
Yeah, absolutely. To watch him dude, to watch his stroke, man, like he was on point. Like he was on point. He walked in knowing he was going to win that thing. So,
Yeah.
big shout out to Cat, man. You know, to see him have fun and enjoy that moment was really cool. You know, of course, we know he's had a tough, you know, year and a half. So to watch him come in and have that kind of fun, to see a smile on his face and have him, you know, have a great time, it was really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then, of course, we had the dunk contest. We touched on a little bit. Obi Toppin's the victor. I thought Juan Toscano Anderson had some cool dunks.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, but there was a lot of like you said, like earlier, it's a lot of trying to be creative and pull things off, and it's just nearly impossible at times. But yeah, I thought that like the one OB where he won on, where he basically like bounced it off the backboard and grabbed it and dunked it, was kind of cool. But you know, obviously that's the big competition coming out of this. I mean, the big discussion coming out of All-Star Weekend is if we're gonna do like smaller name NBA players, you know, not the Zions, not the, you know, LeBrons, not this guy and that guy. Should they expand the lineup more than just 4 guys? You know, because you can't necessarily. I don't agree with like you have to make the big guys do it, because look, if Zion Williamson doesn't want to do it, he's not going to do it. Also, you know, he may never play basketball again. Who knows? So
yeah, we are to that point.
Yeah,
we're to that point. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't agree on making the big names do it. Because honestly, even if you put like a cash prize on it, like money to them really means nothing unless you're talking about a huge amount of money. I also think that there has to be a cap on attempts. So I think, like we were talking about earlier, like when you throw the ball up in the air and you just catch it and run, like that's got to be an attempt. Either that or you get 45 seconds. Like if you don't make your dunk in 45 seconds, then that's it. Because, you know, it took, who was that? Took 13 attempts or like I can't remember, but it took him 13 attempts to try to get that dunk, and you could just feel the air just come out of the stadium. Like,
I think there was like a clip. Was it Kareem? Like Kareem just got up.
Yeah, he just got up and left. Yeah. So you know, I think you can put a time limit on it. I think that you can expand the roster as long as you have the time limit and say, look, you get 45 seconds. You know, if you don't make your dunk in 45 seconds, you get 5s across the board and you'll be eliminated. Like, but you know, you give somebody 13 shots of throwing it up. Oh, well, I didn't touch the rim, so it's not an attempt. I'm like, well, you could do this all day, like, right. You know, until you decide that you're going to try an attempt and throw it off the rim. So, I think there's some things that they can do, but we've talked about this, man. Like the creativity is really hard for those guys because it's all been done. You know, if a guy would have backed up and dunked from the free throw line, they'd be like, "Oh, great, we've seen that 1,000 times."
Yeah.
Oh, you know, a guy throwing off the bounce going through the legs. Oh, we've seen that 1,000 times. So I think it's difficult for those guys, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've just come to the point where we're not going to have another Gerald Green blowing out the candle.
Right.
Yeah, be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, the year Donovan Mitchell won, all he did was like put on a Vince Carter jersey, and I was like, and just dunk, and I was like,
yeah,
whatever.
So I mean, you know, it's not like I said. There have been 5, maybe 6 guys that have just been like, wow, like you have to watch it. And the dunk contest has been going since 84, 83.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, so like I said, Dr. J, Jordan, Levine, Gordon, Vince Carter, like it's rarefied air where you can just shut the building down and have that consistent of dunks all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So that takes us to, of course, the All-Star game, which we'll talk about the media stuff short after this. We've touched on it a little bit already. Steph Curry, unbelievable, 50 points. You know, LeBron has the turnaround fadeaway shot to do the walk off. Like you said, the Elam ending is awesome.
It is. It's amazing. It's so cool.
TBT does that. The basketball tournament.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of fun. Like you said, like, you know, LeBron's team was LeBron, Steph Curry, Giannis, DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Jokic. Off the bench, she had Luka, Darius Garland, Jared Allen, Jimmy Butler, Fred VanVleet, and Chris Paul, who with a wrist injury played 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Team Durant, which we found out shortly before Durant was not going to be in attendance because his grandmother passed away. So our, shout out, send
condolences.
our best wishes there. So that team was Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, Trae Young, John Morant, Andrew Wiggins, Devin Booker, DeJounte Murray, LaMelo Ball, Chris Middleton, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Zach LaVine. Really fun rosters. You saw Draymond doing some interviews with Steph on the sideline at the end of the game. That was neat. But you could see like just how much fun those guys were having. And it's just, like we said, it's a fun day. And I like how they kind of had everything. So everyone's like, well, they scored too many points. And this, I'm like, who cares? Like Joel Embiid had 36 and 10. That was fun. Overall, I just thought it was a fun night. Zach LaVine did a 360 dunk. Cool. I'm happy. And then
John Morant caught a couple lobs, like caught one going in reverse, which was dope. I mean, it was dope. It was fun.
Yeah, LeBron had Zach LaVine playing really hard defense on him, and he still has the turnaround jumper to hit it, which I know Pacer fans go, I've seen that before.
Oh boy.
in that arena.
Yep. Oh boy.
Yeah, but just really fun. Let me ask you this, because this has kind of been a conversation that's coming up. And this isn't, this episode wasn't all about let's change the All-Star game by any means. It's just kind of putting our thoughts out there. Do you still like the draft format, or do you want to go back to East versus West?
I like the draft format.
I do too.
Only because I just like when teammates have the opportunity to play against one another, or you have the opportunity of seeing a Giannis in the East with a LeBron in the West. And, you have those different matchups and those different opportunities. I think it just makes it more interesting when you have that. And two, I think that having those opportunities gives those guys a chance to kind of cut loose a little bit. Like you always see the guys in the West. Like you always see the guys. Those are the guys you play consistently. So like being able to mix that up and play different roles and do different things. And I just think it's a cool experience for not only just for the All-Stars, but for the people that are watching. I think it's neat.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think it's just fun because it's basically building a fantasy team.
Mm-hmm.
And for the 2K players out there, it's like building your My Team, grabbing your cards or your guys and putting your squad together. So it's fun. I don't necessarily think it's not the first detail I would change about All-Star Weekend by any means.
No.
So yeah, I dig it. If they went back to East versus West, I don't think I would be too pissed. I think I would just kind of be like, okay.
You know what I want is for them to wear their own jerseys.
Yes, that's what I care about.
That's what I would want.
Yeah, like even with the mixture of conferences, just like home team wears their white jerseys and road team wears, their colored uniform, and yeah, give me that.
Yeah, I would like that.
Yeah, I think that'd be.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, that's detail one I would change too. I agree. Yeah, it's definitely detail one I would change.
Yeah.
So we talked for a second about the NBA 75, all 75 team getting honored. Obviously, a few guys weren't able to be there for different reasons, but it looked like Michael Jordan was just having a blast. He's like talking to LeBron, and they're hugging and laughing, and he's like hugging Luka, and he's like talking to Karl Anthony Towns, and he has no idea who he is, and he's the last introduced. Him and Dennis Rodman are hanging out. I did see because people were like, well, Scotty wasn't going to be there. Like, apparently he had wrist surgery, and that's why he didn't go.
Okay.
So it wasn't like some vendetta against Michael Jordan.
No.
But I just thought it was neat. Like, it obviously always sucks. Do you get those reminders that Kobe Bryant passed away?
Oh man, that one
so painful.
That one killed me. And like when they show them backstage in the Laker picture, and all those Laker greats are there, and oh my god, like why like it's I'm trying to think of a way to put it. It's fascinating to see all the Laker greats, but man, like Kobe was built for that moment. Like he deserved to have that moment, and for to go through that, like it was tough. It was tough, but the whole thing was cool. The whole atmosphere was cool.
Yeah, I saw. So LeBron just about a half hour ago on his Instagram posted some stills of him with Michael. So he posted the video clip. He posted them like the hug, and he posted the picture from 2002 when the Wizards were visiting the Cavs and talk about like 20 years later and stuff. So that was neat.
Yeah.
I think it was good too for those GOAT debaters who just have to have that conversation to see those two just like getting along and enjoying each other's company.
Oh, it drove them nuts.
Oh,
they're not supposed to like each other. Michael Jordan's a cutthroat competitor. LeBron's like that drove them crazy to see him like shake hands and hug. Like that drove them nuts.
Yeah, it did. And also it was fun because we saw Michael Jordan and they like hanging out with like Dwayne Wade and Magic Johnson. And like Jordan's like, get your shoes out. We can go play one-on-one right now. And he wasn't joking.
No, he was dead serious. He wasn't. Yeah, he was not playing around. Yeah, all that stuff was just really cool to see, man. Like I know Jordan was down in Daytona because his driver finished second, Bubba Wallace. Shout out to Bubba Wallace.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he finished second in Daytona.
My knowledge of NASCAR for this
is
as limited as it gets.
Yeah. I'm a fan of NASCAR. I watch it sporadically, but I do like it. When my guy retired, I stopped watching Jeff Gordon. That was my dude, but I didn't watch as much. But yeah, it was cool. Like he got for him to go from that to get on a plane to make sure that he got to Cleveland and experience that, to see the interactions between all those guys, man, like the mutual respect, the admiration and like basketball history all in that one spot. Like it was just phenomenal to see. You're looking at Charles Barkley and Giannis and Kevin Garnett and like all the just greats that are there, and it's neat to see all those guys somewhat get along, get to know each other, talk, interact. It was special. It was a special night. Whether you agree on who should have been there and who shouldn't have been there and all this other stuff, all that stuff aside, I know Tim's love for Bob Cousy, and Dolph Schayes. But
some Dolph Schayes in the conversation.
But yeah, it was really neat to see those guys come together, be honored, and just a reflection of how great the NBA is and how well they do things. It was just phenomenal. It was just on display again last night at how well they not only just take care of their current players, but always remember their past and where they came from. So shout outs to the NBA once again, putting on full display on why they are the best league.
Do you think when like the person they were like, hey, you're going to be standing next to John Stockton, do you think he was like, oh, shit, come on, man?
I did think about that. I mean, because not saying that there's a whole lot of beefs in the NBA, but you got Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan who clearly, I'm sure they made sure that those two weren't together. There's just different rivalries, but I think all that stuff, I hope all that stuff kind of got put to the side and they could just enjoy their evening. But they definitely were looking at who was lining up next to who, and the way they did it. So
the guys next to Stockton's like, all right, I got to wear a mask. I got to make sure I am in like a half-mat suit. I'm not taking any chances next to that guy.
Yeah, let me mask up next to this cat.
No conspiracy theories allowed in here.
Right.
Yeah, but it was, like you said, it was just so cool. I think the fact that MJ and LeBron got to have that moment really kind of was like the perfect thing. I also was kind of surprised at Dennis Rodman. Obviously, I thought he deserved to be there. That's not what I'm saying. But Dennis Rodman came out rocking a Bulls hat, and like, don't be wrong, I know he's part of the three-peat and this and that, and that's probably how like people my age remember him. But like, this is Dennis Rodman, who was part of the Bad Boy Pistons. Like, I thought for sure if he was going to rep a team, it would be Detroit basketball.
No, I think his love of Michael Jordan conquers all.
That's true. That's true.
I think his love of Mike conquers all. Like even even when he was part of the Jordan rules and all that stuff, once he got to Chicago and was around Mike, because say what you want, him and Mike are close to being the same person. I mean, they like to party, they like to gamble. Mike back in the day, well, he had a side chick or two. So
Allegedly.
it was allegedly. But
we don't have an LLC yet, Ben. We got to watch that.
But I think that there's a I think that those two are more alike than people know. So even in the conversation, you saw those two hanging out, and Mike was like, "When are you gonna come to my place, man? When are you gonna come hang out?" And you're kind of listening to the conversation. You're like those two really do like each other. Like they're really cool. So
yeah.
But yeah, it was neat to see all those interactions.
It was, man. I really liked it. All right, so let's get into all the other stuff that's going around, all the news and all the drama and all the hints at the future.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you can't have an All-Star game in Cleveland without talking about LeBron James being there, no matter who his current roster is.
Mm-hmm.
And a few things he said in there that really jumped out, that are really, really kind of were like, oh, okay. And I'm not even getting into the whole Bronny stuff because I like Bronny as a basketball player. Like, I enjoy when I watch Sierra Canyon games. There is nothing that, for me to I don't know if he's an NBA player. He might be, but I don't. It's so hard to tell. He's a top 100 recruit for sure. I don't have an issue with that. But
yeah,
But
I think sometimes that pressure,
yeah,
sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. And I hate to keep going back to Jordan or whatever, but you saw it with his kids. Like his kids were good Division I basketball players. Like they had really decent careers. They went on and did some really cool things. I think the one went to Illinois and the one went to Central Florida.
Yeah.
But they both had really good, Division I careers. They just weren't their dad. So, to put that kind of pressure on a kid already as a sophomore in high school, like that's a lot.
Crazy.
That's a lot.
Yeah, he throws a bounce pass to Amari Bailey, and Amari Bailey gets a layup, and it's like, did you see that?
Yeah.
That was crazy. It's like, all right, let's calm the brakes a little bit.
Just a bounce pass.
Yeah, just a bounce pass.
Just a bounce pass.
But so they talked about when LeBron's in his presser for the All-Star game on Saturday for Media Day, they ask about the importance of the game being in Cleveland, how big that is, and he goes, "It's really big that Cleveland has 3 All-Stars with Darius Garland, J.A., and me." And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, he talks about how he really appreciates Sam Presti's ability to find talent, because he was asked about Josh Giddey. He talked about how he really liked Josh Giddey. He's like, it's really amazing how Sam Presti finds these guys. And you're like, Rob Pelinka sitting there like, the shit, dude. The fuck. And then Jason Lloyd goes, would you consider coming back to Cleveland? I'm paraphrasing, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And LeBron says, that door is not closed. Now, you, me, and Josh and Sean has kind of gotten in on a little bit. We've been talking about this for a few weeks now, just watching, the trajectories of the franchises and seeing that, the Cavs have a really good basketball situation for their future where they have a point guard and they have they have two bigs that can really help out LeBron's ability to play defense. And we see what's going on in LA. These reports are coming out that LeBron and AD were pissed at Rob Pelinka for not making any moves at the trade deadline to improve the roster. And it sounds like with the buyout market, not a lot of people are wanting to go to Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
So, we know how the narrative is with LeBron, that he tries to control the narrative as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And when he speaks, nothing is ever coincidental.
Oh,
so
no. Yeah.
So I really believe that there's a lot of angry Rob Pelinka, what's the word? Passive aggressiveness. And also some feeling out process to see hey, Cleveland, would you like to bring me back? And would you like to have me play here again to finish my career here? And then of course these people were like, there's no way Dan Gilbert's going to bring LeBron back to Cleveland. I'm like, you are stupid. You are stupid.
Right.
If he calls Dan Gilbert tomorrow and goes, hey man, we could win another title, You've got these guys. I'll come play. I'll be your leader. Ball game.
Game over.
Right.
Game over. Yeah. And we, like you said, we all talk about this, and we started actually to give you a lot of credit. You were the first one to bring it up and be like, man, they got some cats in Cleveland. Like I could see LeBron making that move, and the more you watch it, like it would almost be poetic justice, right? So the guy who's from Akron, Cleveland area, won them their only championship. They have built a championship caliber team with young studs. LeBron on his last descent down towards retirement. You know, you bring him in. You know, he doesn't have to play 38, 39 minutes because you've got young studs that can do that. You don't have to do any of that. All you have to do is be a leader, come in, you know, play your 28 to 32 minutes a game, score your 21 to 22 and get your 6 or 8 assists. Like it's almost set up perfectly for him to go back there and have success.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe that Cleveland is looking at this and saying, okay, if LeBron settles for the league minimum, which I think he would, to have the opportunity to bring somebody with him and then have the guys that he has, if you don't think that Cleveland is looking at that right now, you are bananas. Mm-hmm. The market for LeBron and what he does for the Cleveland area and the money he brings in, and you've got all these young studs that are playing right now, and they're playing really well, and they're getting better. You can't think for one solitary second that LeBron's not like, dude, I could end my career in Cleveland with an opportunity to win a championship. And it's house money for LeBron. If I win a championship with these guys, great. If I don't, I end my career where I started. I've brought them along, and they've had the opportunity to be back in playoff contention and have a really good shot at winning it all. So for LeBron, it's house money. I don't think he can lose on this.
Yeah, I know Laker fans are like totally panicking because it's going to be a shitstorm this summer, and it probably will be.
Yeah, but like you said, that's the Lakers' fault. That's the Lakers' fault. Like when you constructed this roster and you constructed it the way you did, and you got rid of your Carusos and your Kuzmas and your Harolds and all these guys that you had, and you constructed this roster the way you did, relying on a Dwight Howard, relying on Avery Bradley, relying on Russell Westbrook. Like, you did this to you, Laker Nation. You did this.
DeAndre Jordan.
Oh, DeAndre Jordan started games for the Lakers this year.
2022.
2022. So the Lakers did that to the Lakers. And I know LeBron had some say in bringing Westbrook in, and I get that. You know, you can't dictate the future, see the future of what Russell Westbrook would be. But you also didn't put any other pieces around them, and you let other pieces go that could have helped you with a bad Westbrook. So, the Lakers did this. So this was a self-inflicted wound for the Lakers.
Yeah, Rob, Mr. Pelinka, if you just want to get ahead of this for a year, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you this right now. I went on the trade MBAs. You know how I'm a fond of the trade calculator.
No doubt.
And Rob, if you just want to go ahead and get a step ahead of this and just go ahead and end this now, so you don't have to go through this all next year with LeBron's free agent year. Kevin Love, Lauri Markkanen, and a first-round pick for LeBron works. Just saying. Just saying. You guys need draft picks so bad because you traded them all away.
Yep. Absolutely.
Anthony Davis isn't coming back if LeBron's gone.
Oh, no.
No.
Hold on. So here's my next question. LeBron leaves. Mm-hmm. Where does Anthony Davis go?
Chicago.
Oh.
Goes home.
Does it work?
No.
Money-wise?
I mean, it could. I'd have to like play around with it, but it wouldn't cost him DeMar. It wouldn't cost him Levine. It wouldn't cost him Lonzo. It might cost him Caruso again, going back to LA.
Yeah.
But it, there's ways to make it happen. Vooch would definitely be in the trade, obviously, for the sake of position and fit.
Correct.
Give me a week.
Yeah. Put that one together for me, because I like you said, if LeBron leaves, there's no way in the world Anthony Davis stays.
Nope.
No way in the world.
Yeah, I did think it was really funny that they said Clutch was pissed off at Rob Pelinka because he wouldn't trade Russell Westbrook for John Wall. And I was like, look, John Wall hasn't played basketball like in 3 years here. Like he's played like 30 games in 3 years. Like I'm not making that trade no matter how bad Westbrook's been. At least I know what I'm getting with Westbrook.
Correct. Yeah, John Wall right now is you have no idea what he is, what kind of shape he's in. Or what kind of basketball he can play. So, I mean, previously we knew what he was, but like you said, he's played 30 games in 3 years. Like we don't, we have no idea what he is.
Yeah, is he gonna do like, who knows? What a disaster! What a disaster! Yeah. Shout out Adele and Rich Paul. I can't wrap my. It's been like months. I can't wrap my brain around it.
I can't. I still don't see like. No, I mean Adele, very pretty woman. I'm not saying that she's not, but I'm like
amazingly talented. Amazing.
Yeah, amazingly talented. Her album is amazing. But like I just don't see those two worlds. Like I don't know. But shout out to both of them. They make it work.
Do you think when he calls her, he's like, "Hello,"
from the other side?
Oh God, I had to. I couldn't stop myself. I couldn't stop myself. I had to do it. All right, so let's wrap real quick. Big news today. I guess big news. Goran Dragic signs with the Brooklyn Nets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I don't really.
Nope.
Doesn't do anything for me.
He's 30. He's 35, 36. He does nothing for them.
Yeah, just with the Nets, another old player.
Yep.
Wonderful. Chris Paul's got the injury. He's out 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
That freaking sucks.
Yeah, that does suck. And Devin Booker was interviewed today, and they were talking about that. And he kind of took the positives out of it, like him being out. He gets to rest his legs going into the playoffs. He doesn't.
True.
It's kind of a blessing in disguise. Because I still think, Phoenix is still a very good basketball team, and they're going to win the majority of the games that they play here in the second half of the season. But that team was so locked in with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and those guys. Like they were so locked in. I just hope it doesn't interrupt that chemistry and that flow with Chris Paul being gone. Because they are of course the best team in the NBA right now, but you're losing an MVP caliber point guard. So hopefully that doesn't interrupt the flow of what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. Any other injury news? Anything I'm missing? I know Donovan Mitchell, he didn't play in the All-Star game.
Yeah, Anthony Davis, which that's
sprained ankle.
Yeah,
so didn't look good.
It did not look good at all. So he's out probably another 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's not
and they'll be playing, and they'll be the 10th seed, and trying to fight their way through.
Yeah, probably. So look, we're recording this on Monday night. Season doesn't start back till Thursday. What do you do for 3 days without NBA basketball? Like I have literally the teams we cover, they're all on the road.
Yeah.
So all the college teams are on the road this week, like till Saturday.
Well, for you, you probably get a reacquainted back with your wife because you never get to see her hardly during basketball season. So I'm sure there'll be some home cooked meals and
went to the park today. It was nice.
Foot rubs and baby, please. You know what I mean? It's almost over. It's almost over. I promise.
2 weeks left. 2 weeks of regular season games. Yeah, I'm not traveling this year for any conference tournaments, unfortunately. I would like to go back to the Big East tournament, but man, it's gonna be. I think she's gonna be very excited to be home for a few days.
Oh yeah, Absolutely. It's always tough too because like there's no like you got college basketball on, but like with that little lull there with no NBA is kind of crazy. But once they get back Thursday rolling, we'll be in the home stretch. See who's contenders and who's pretenders.
All right, last question before we get out of here.
Yes,
Who plays the game first for their new team, James Harden or Ben Simmons?
Ooh, I say I think it'll be Harden because I think
I do too.
Harden will be back. I think Harden will be back after the All-Star break. I think he was really. I think his hamstring really was messed up. But I think I think he hasn't played in forever, and they've got all this break. I think Harden will be back first. But I don't think Simmons is that far off. I think Simmons is maybe. I'd give him probably 2 weeks. I'd give him 2 weeks. I could be wrong about that, but at some point he's got. I mean, I know those guys pretty much stay in shape, but I think there's a dynamic there without Kevin Durant being there. He's hurt. Kyrie's part-time. There's a dynamic there where Ben Simmons would be kind of flying solo, without the other stars on the floor. So I think they'll give him a couple weeks to get acquainted, and then you'll probably see him mid-March.
Yeah, I agree. I'm hoping that they start back up on Friday, being the Sixers. They're in Minnesota. I'm really hoping that Harden plays that game because I can't wait for the first pick and roll. I see that those two run together, him and Embiid. It's gonna be fun.
It'll be awesome. Pick and roll or slip the screen, pop out, and Embiid hitting a three. Like the strain they're gonna put on defense is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. But with that being said, we're going to go and wrap up this week's edition of the Bench Mob here on the 48 Minutes Basketball Network. Some housekeeping. I had a really, really fun interview with Josh Barnett of 19.9 Threads that's going to go up this week. I really hope for At Large Bid. I really hope you guys check it out. We talk a lot about the different collections they're working on, including their HBCU collection. Kentucky fans, you're going to be really excited about some of the stuff he tells me that's coming out. Not going to make any hints or anything, but the 1996 Denim ones he says are coming soon. No hints, though. No hints. For you Antoine Walker and Ron Mercer fanatics out there. And then we talk about a bunch of stuff. Really cool episode. And then Shot Callers will be on the Friday this week, as far as I know. They're going to kind of be recapping the start of the second half of the season post All-Star, kind of getting everything going. So we're excited. We're all happy to be back going again. Be sure to give us those solid 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and check out everything we have going on. We have a lot of fun coming up. We're excited for. So take it easy, everyone. Have a good night.
See you guys.